The FA Cup is alive and kicking in Leeds. Certainly Jermaine Beckford's late penalty has earned them a replay back at Ellen Road against Tottenham. Fourth round weekend shaping up nicely. Meanwhile, the fans arriving at the Britannia Stadium for this Sunday lunchtime kickoff are in good spirits. Both Stoke may have lost 2-0 at the Emirates in December, but they are very tough to beat here. Mind you, Arsenal brimming with self-belief, having gone top of the league in midweek. Stoke City against Arsenal then for a place in the fifth round of the FA Cup, sponsored by E.ON. Afternoon to you. Kick-off here at the Britannia is at 1:30. Joining me in the studio, a youth team player at Stoke, before he became a Port Vale legend, of course, Robbie Earle, and Robbie's teammate at Wimbledon, who scored a few for Arsenal too, of course, John Hartson. Welcome both. John, is it too simple? Is it unfair to suggest this is brains against brawn?
Well, I think Stoke do come in for a bit of unfair criticism at times, because people do seem to tag them with that label of being the old Wimbledon, the new Wimbledon, if you like, the way they launched it into the box. They've got the long throw. But it's a weapon. It's a weapon that, if Arsenal had it in their team, they'd use it. You know, Delap can launch it into the penalty box from anywhere inside the opposition half. But Arsenal certainly defend well, and obviously that's why we know Campbell's playing. Yeah,
and we've talked a lot about Arsenal waiting a while to win a trophy. This is quite winnable for them this season now, isn't it?
Yeah, as you get to the fourth round and you think, you know, beyond this, you start thinking of the Twin Towers. But it is a contrast of styles. I think it's about different personalities, different ways of playing football. I think today is about who can impose their will on the opposition more and probably win the game.
Yeah, let's look at the two teams because they make interesting reading. The return first, John, of Sol Campbell for Arsenal.
Yes, well, we you know, Campbell and Sylvester. Campbell's obviously the one, he's been given his start today. For me, that's an interesting one.
Just looking at Stoke, obviously, in terms of the team that's come up, but he will have to cope with Sidibe and Fuller and Rory Delap's long throw, won't he, Sol?
Absolutely, and that's why he's probably in the side today instead of Gallas and Vermaelen, because he will go and stick his head on the ball, but he'll need to today because he'll need to do a lot of defending.
You look at the Arsenal team in comparison, just like for like size, they're going to be struggling on set pieces. That is a big Stoke side, and Sol's going to almost need to have a headache when he's going back on that coach. So that he's going to have to head balls, head elbows, head backs of head. Yeah. He's going to have to really stand
He looks very fit, Rob, doesn't he? He looks as if he's really worked hard the last couple of weeks, and I think Wenger's filed a dossier on him, and he's really worked him into the ground, and he's fair play, he's reacted in the right way.
Yeah, looking forward to that combination. Certainly Delap's long throws and Sol Campbell's defensive strengths. Still to come before kick-off here, the thoughts of Arsene Wenger and Tony Pulis' right-hand man at Stoke, Peter Reid. Welcome back. Kick-off here at the Britannia, less than 10 minutes away. The fourth round FA Cup meeting between Stoke City and Arsenal. Here are the pre-match thoughts from both camps.
Arsene, you've got a very busy month ahead. Is that reflected in your team selection today?
Well, we have today a team who has a good chance to win the game. That's all I thought about. You know, we focused to qualify, and some players had some injuries, some needed a little breather, and that explains the selection.
I mean, if you give them time and space, they could play football with the best of them. You know, the likes of Fabregas, I think Walcott will play today, tremendous players. So you've got to deny him time and space, and we certainly be looking to do that. You know, we've got a particular style, it's effective, and we're hoping that it'll be a blood and thunder game, and not a silky smooth game.
Now, you've got Sol Campbell back in the side today. What's expected of him now over the next few months?
That he helps us to win things. As simple as that. That he leads the team today at the back with Mika Silvestre experience. You know, we have some young players, so it's important to have a good mixture between experience and youth, and he can help us to do that.
Is he exactly the type of player you need today? Because previous encounters between Arsenal and Stoke have been a bit fiery.
He doesn't hide, you know, for physical challenges, and Sol is a fighter. When he's in the battle, you can rely on him, and that will be, of course, an important quality today in the cup game.
It will be a test, John and Robbie, for Sol, and I would suggest a pretty big day for Theo Walcott. It's a pretty big year, this, with the World Cup looming at the end of it.
Definitely, and he gets an opportunity today, but you know, in regards to Sol Campbell, there's still some question marks over his if he can still play at the highest level, because he's been out for so long. But you know, he'll have it all to do today against the DB and Fulham because they're two top players then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about it being simplistic to suggest Stoke are just a battering ram, but they have different questions to ask.
Yeah, but they've got quality as well. That's taking nothing away. People like Matthew Etherington, Ricardo Fuller, give them the ball in the right area in the last third, they can hurt defenders. But it was interesting, Peter Reid talked about they can't give Arsenal space and time. It'll be about how much pressure Stoke can apply and how quickly they can get amongst Arsenal and stop them playing. If you do that individually, this Arsenal team will pick you off. If you do that as a group, that's when you can win the ball and maybe make this young side take a backward step.
Yes, and whilst this is two Premier League teams meeting in the FA Cup, there's still a slight sense that this is the fortress for Stoke. This is the place that they make it difficult for other teams to come.
Well, that's right. They certainly prefer to be playing here at the Britannia rather than at the Emirates. You know, it's Stoke's home game. You'd expect them to put the pressure on Arsenal. You know, so very much looking forward to it.
There are some inexperienced players certainly in that Arsenal lineup. Let's see how they get on at the Britannia. The teams are with us, and the live action comes when we return. Arsene Wenger at the Britannia. Stoke versus Arsenal. Time to join our commentary team here this afternoon. Gareth Southgate, and first, good afternoon, Clive Tilsley.
Afternoon, Matt. I was getting boxing fan for the classic matchup, and they'll always pick a fighter against a boxer. That's what we've got here today. Two teams that make no apologies for being different in style. Arsenal, the stylish counter-punchers. Stoke City, the toe-to-toe sluggers. Their hand's been weakened by an injury to skipper Abdoulaye Faye. Daniel Collins returns to the defence. One of three changes to the team that came back against Liverpool here last weekend. Glenn Whelan is recalled to the midfield. Ricardo Fuller gets the nod over Tunchaya Fram. Only Cesc Fabregas from this team played in Arsenal's last game. The anticipated wholesale changes include the headline comeback of Sol Campbell and Theo Walcott's latest attempt to get his season started. Big J, Emmanuel Thomas, plays his first senior Arsenal game up front in a mix and match team of old and new. Talked a lot about Campbell. It is only Walcott's fifth start of a very big season for him. Tony Pulis, a little late on parade. Arsenal's second ever visit to the Britannia Stadium. They lost the first, lost the game, and Robin van Persie to a red card that day. I get the impression it's one of those places that Arsene Wenger wouldn't necessarily come on holiday. And Gareth Southgate alongside me has already used the press to make sure that Stoke keep to the rules today.
Yeah, it was very interesting, his pre-match briefing on Friday, I think it was, where he spoke about, I think it was reference to the game against Bolton last week, and he kept talking about teams think they can out-muscle us, out-physical us. Not an approach he agrees with. He knows his team have to stand up to that, but look, other teams don't have the quality that Arsenal have, so they've got to use their own strengths to try and encounter them.
And here is one of those strengths. Rory Delat having the ball served up to him via the towel, which referee Martin Atkins is happy for the use of, as long as Arsenal get use of it too. But they're not a long throw team. Stoke City are. And here comes the first offering from Rory Delat. Oh, it's in! What a start, Ricardo Fuller! 70 seconds. Rory Delat's first throw is too hot for Arsenal to handle. Ricardo Fuller reaches it first, fires it beyond Fabianski, a hesitant Fabianski, and the die is cast for the afternoon. They just cannot handle Delat's throws.
Incredible. I mean, you know what's coming. A number of teams that have been here. Goalkeeper looked as if he was going to come and deal with it. Well, it's poor, really. He's got to go and attack it. For Ricardo Fuller to win a header at that height is poor defending.
I mean, it bypasses everybody at the near post. It should be Fabianski's. He's just looking to catch it in his midriff, but he's beaten to the punch by Fuller. And it's a really soft goal for Arsenal to concede at a really bad time. But last season, when they were beaten here in the Premier League, both of the Stoke City goals came direct from deadlock throws. So it's not as if they haven't been warned. Sylvester under pressure from Sidibe. And Arsenal need a timeout here just to settle.
Well, I don't think any of the Arsenal back four are going to have any time in this early period of the game to settle on the ball. They'll want to get their passing game going, but they've just got to take 5 minutes now to ease their way back into the game.
Here's Carlos Vela. Immediately challenged by deadlock and Huth. Ricardo Fuller scored one of those goals from a deadlock throw against Arsenal last season. He'll be buoyed on his return to the team. Campbell now inside the Stoke City penalty area. Fabregas with a free kick. Sorensen has to come and claim. Just unable to link up with Etherington. Here's Francis Coquelin, young right back from France. Back to the Polish international goalkeeper, Lukas Fabianski is an experienced enough keeper, but he had an awful moment there. And almost like a cricketer who's worried about the reputation of a fast bowler, he just didn't handle it at all well, almost as if he was frightened of the very prospect.
Well, I think that's one of the big things with the set play routines here at Stoke. Not only are they effective, but it's the fear and the unrest it causes in opposition defences. They want to unsettle you, they want it to get you on edge, and it's that as much as anything that causes you the problem.
Fabregas winning the ball for Theo Walcott. Into the path of Emmanuel Thomas. Stabbed on towards Fabregas. Another one for Fuller to chase. Sylvester alongside Campbell has bags of know-how and experience too. But Arsenal have made a shaky start. Sylvester giving it away to Whitehead. And deadlock has another throw. He can almost reach from here. Smiling Tony Pulis's been in charge here 6 of the last 7 years, after a period in which Stoke had 7 managers in as many years. There's a real solidity about this club now. Ryan Shawcross is going forward in recognition of the length that deadlock can get. And it's towards Shawcross, and Fabianski's got to come and deal with this, and does.
Well, a lot more positive from the goalkeeper. That's what he had to do on the first one. Very indecisive, and any goalkeeper, from when you start with them as kids, you come for crosses, you take them at their highest point. He was going to be taking it around the midriff, so it's clearly in the wrong position.
Vela. Just unable to get away from Sidibe. Quickly taken, Traore. He's unmarked. Head away is a phone one though from Collins.
Well, it's the perfect start for Stoke, because not only does it give them the initiative in the game, get the crowd going, but every ball now that goes in that Arsenal box is going to be a concern for their defence.
This is the 8th time the FA Cup has thrown these two together, and Arsenal have prevailed in each of the other 7. They beat Stoke 2-0 at the Emirates just last month, but this is not the Emirates, not by nearly 200 miles. Vela's foot was high. It's a reminder to those of you watching us on Freesat with high-definition televisions that you can access our HD coverage by pressing a red button.
I don't think Arsenal's defenders will thank Vela for giving away free kicks in these sorts of areas.
It's taken by Etherington. It's towards deadlock. Fell for Fabregas, but he's presented the ball to Whelan. Arsene Wenger's talked a lot about the spirit and the mentality in his group. And that's all really going to be tested now after that present of a goal, really, from a stooping Ricardo Fuller. It's one thing being tested by Delap's throws and having trouble 7 feet off the ground, but that was 4.5 feet off the ground when Fuller nodded it in.
Well, the other thing that strikes you about it, when you watch it back again, the young fullback Coquelin should really block the run of Fuller as he comes across, and a bit of an experience there, and baptism of fire for this kid. You know, he's one who've encountered this sort of atmosphere that he's going to face, one who've encountered this style of football too often in his young career.
Not lost since he had that blast in the Anfield dressing room at half-time in mid-December. He knew this would be a test of the team that he selected. It's an even bigger test now. Campbell to Denilson. Here is Coquelin. It's a rather aimless ball. He's 18. He's played just 3 first-team games, all in the Carling Cup. Just had an hour of senior football this season prior to this. Difficult assignment against Matthew Etherington on the Stoke left. Here's Danny Collins, the left back. Emmanuel Thomas down to Walcott. Rolled in by Eastman. Fed off by Fabregas to Denilson. Now Emmanuel Thomas tried to play it inside the fullback for Walcott. In fact, that fullback is the winger, Etherington, covering back. And now finding a way out. Campbell moved pretty quickly there. But he wasn't alert to the possibility of a fairly ambitious return ball from Francois Coquelin.
Fascinating game for Sol Campbell to come back in. You know, it's a really interesting signing by Arsene Wenger, because I think everybody felt when Sol ended up at Notts County earlier in the season that was going to be it for him. And I think it's taken everybody in football by surprise that he finds himself back at Arsenal.
Fabregas combining with Walcott. Stoke, in some senses, it's the perfect game for Campbell, who is first and foremost a defender. A big man who can look after himself in the air. Walcott felt he was impeded there. But we read that he was nursing a bit of a neck injury last week. This is not the place to cover the neck injury. And by Sidibe. One for Fuller to chase. Sylvestre under pressure, concedes the corner. Stoke City are every bit as dangerous when the ball is on the ground at a set play as they are when it's in the hands of Rory Delap.
Well, we saw there even a player of Sol Campbell's stature in the height. Sidibe and Fuller, they can win anything.
It's a chance for Higginbottom to have a volley, in actual fact. A really good chance, which he didn't make the most of it, rather caught him by surprise. Tossed back in by Collins. Headed away by Traore. Denilson, Vela. Fabregas. Swept into the path of Coquelin. He hasn't settled at all, the young right back.
Well, just at this moment in time, it looks a bit much for him, doesn't it? Very edgy with a couple of his passes. Probably feels slightly responsible for the goal going in. And he just needs to settle him down. And this is the type of situation where Arsene Wenger's glad he's got Sol Campbell alongside him. Sylvestre and Campbell would be very important, their experience today.
Higginbottom. Dealt with by Coquelin. Fabregas on. Here's Denilson. Foot was a little high from Dean Whitehead. Fabregas in towards Emmanuel Thomas. Sorensen thought about coming, didn't have to in the end. Only Chelsea and Manchester United had beaten Stoke here this season until Birmingham City prevailed at the Britannia just after Christmas. Stoke are unbeaten in 2010 so far, after a winless December. They've got their act together again. Vela, cut out well by Whelan. Hoot with the throw in. They're away by Denilson. Just trying to stroke it forward towards Fuller. Sylvester this time. Now Eastman. Emmanuel Thomas. Rugged play in midfield though by Glenn Whelan. Here's Danny Collins. Matthew Etherington couldn't quite gather it in. It's important that Stoke City keep the heat on and don't allow Arsenal to settle, because if they do, Stoke know it'll become a very different kind of a game.
Yeah, I don't think Stoke have any other way of playing. It's always totally committed. They always get the crowd here going by winning their tackles in midfield. Their front players never give your defenders a chance to settle. And that's why playing at the Britannia is a great advantage for them. The style that they play, the pitch is narrow, so they're able to press you a lot better than if it was a wider, bigger pitch.
Quite sold out today. 1 or 2 empty seats, unusually. Offside Fuller. Arsenal, in fairness, did sell all of their 4,500 allocation away behind Fabianski's goal. They had the best view of the goal that separates the two teams, scored after 70 seconds by Ricardo Fuller. Etherington. Fuller, little change of pace. Good support there too from Delat, if he could have pulled it back.
Well, it was important positioning from Sol Campbell, but again, right back Coquelin not getting tight enough, making his midfield player come back and do his own defending for him.
Here's Walcott, he's tried to lay it off to Villa. It's a bit more like it from Arsenal. Goal kick given. It was a good ball from Emmanuel Thomas initially. They think it should be a corner.
It's a decent layoff.
Oh, it is a corner too.
It is.
Campbell well positioned.
Yeah, they're good positioning experience covering the near post area.
It's his first Arsenal appearance since the Champions League final in Paris in 2006. He went off to Portsmouth for 3 years, lifted the FA Cup 20 months ago. His 3rd winners' medal. Ironic cheers as Stoke City are awarded a free kick by Martin Atkinson.
He's just leaning on the top, but you know, those challenges are so difficult. You could give free kicks either way all day long on those.
It is only football at this level, at senior level so far this season. 1 game for Notts County at Morecambe in September. And Notts County lost. This is just about the position from which Delap set up the first goal. Very long one, headed away by Eastman for a corner this time. Congratulated by his teammates for dealing with it.
Such a weapon. It's the trajectory of the throw. You know, the set plays in many respects. A lot of teams last season were happier to concede corners against Stoke than the throw-in because of the trajectory that Rory Delap gets.
Etherington with a corner. It's Campbell who heads it away. One back by Rory Delap. Etherington's onside. And Traore wins the throw-in. You know, Gareth, if I was a manager, I think I would expect somebody within my squad to be able to come up with a long throw. I mean, it's a very valid weapon, and actually it's a great skill to be able to throw the ball that far.
Well, it's something that most teams will have somebody in their club that they use. I think the other advantage that Stoke have, more often than not, they've got 6 or 7 players in their side of 6'2" or more. So not only are they challenging all the initial ball in, but they're very good at picking up the pieces off of that.
Walcott's control just letting him down. That's nicely played between Etherington and Whelan. Fuller will chase the long ball forward. Sylvester comes across. Stoke get the award. Sylvester is hurt. But there's a role somewhere for anybody who could coach players to throw the ball long, to go around the clubs and make a few bob. There's a teacher from Yorkshire, Danny Brooks, broke the world throw-in record last week. Guinness Book of Records have recognised that. Maybe he's the man. Make his fortune. It's a corner this time. Fabianski with a punch, which is a pretty good one, clears his penalty area. Villa able to lay claim to it. throw into Arsenal.
Well, that was good goalkeeping, very positive, good punch.
Eastman. Coquelin. Eastman to Villa. Into the path of Traore. Fabregas in some control. It's come out as far as Denilson. Charged down well by Shawcross. Eastman immediately under pressure from Sidibe. And fair pressure, says the referee. Won the ball. Etherington up towards Fuller. Campbell stands his ground.
Very strong defending, very strong. I mean, what Sol Campbell and Mikel Silvestre will have to deal with, a lot of balls slip down the side channels that Fuller and Sidibe chase all day.
Vela. Picked up by Shawcross. One back by Eastman. Denilson. It might be the first time in the game that Arsenal have been able to string half a dozen passes together.
Tony Pulis' sides are always very well organised, always get their shape well. And the difficulty for Arsenal is what Stoke will do. They'll keep the middle of the park very compact. They'll allow Arsenal the width, and they'll say, well, go on, if you want to score against us, you're going to have to cross balls. And if you cross balls, we've actually got 4 centre-halves at the back that are going to deal with it.
Yeah, the 2 full-backs are really centre-backs by trade. Eastman. Emmanuel Thomas. Into the path of Vela. Fabregas is a long way forward. Vela's crosses over here. There's signs of Arsenal beginning to get their act together.
Yeah, good link-up play from Thomas. Saw him a couple of times at Blackpool earlier in the season, and he looked a decent player, and he'll be wanting to prove a point here.
Etherington may require some treatment here. He's just going to go off so that the physio can have a look at him.
He's been a good signing, Clive, you know. Difficult spell at the end at West Ham, but always a player that's caused problems when he was at Tottenham. When he was at West Ham, caused problems to opposition fullbacks, that raw pace, that ability to go and take players on. Good deliverer of the ball as well.
Tony Pulis brought him here last January at a time when just starting to be threatened by relegation, and his combination with James Beattie, who's among the substitutes today, was a big factor in getting Stoke's season moving again. Campbell. Emmanuel Thomas. Denilson. Emmanuel Thomas just allowed the ball to slip under his foot, but he's quite an educated, cultured player. He played in all kinds of different positions for Arsenal. Denilson rushed. And then Whelan. But he's found Sidibe. Almost as if he's looking for Etherington, who's still receiving treatment, and instead Fuller occupies that left wing berth. And Arsenal are able to deal with it. Fabregas. He was taken late there by Whitehead, but he smuggled it into the path of Emmanuel Thomas. Just couldn't quite link up with Villa, though. Etherington has resumed, but it does seem to be a muscular problem. It's not something he's going to be able to run off.
The way they were treating him on the side, it looks like a hamstring. It might just be tight. They'll probably give him 5 minutes just to see how he goes, but they've got Liam Lawrence warming up just in case.
Arsenal throw it. Sunday lunch in the Potteries. Hearty, traditional fare. The FA Cup sponsored by Eon, continuing to offer us shocks and surprises. Arsenal behind here in 70 seconds to Ricardo Fuller's 4th goal of the season. A big missed kick by Shawcross, which Stoke have managed to get away with, but, well, up to a point. Delap and Sorensen not quite on the same wavelength. Fabregas. Vela. Fabregas. Whelan got to him, but he smuggled it through to Emmanuel Thomas. Good challenge by Shawcross. Whelan trying to sort it out. And as far as Eastman. Fabregas to Coquelin. Emmanuel Thomas. Heavy touch. Etherington. It's behind Campbell for Fuller to chase. He won't quite reach it. I suppose you could say good judgment by Campbell, who was happy for the ball to run beyond him.
But those are the balls that Stoke are going to play all day, especially with Sol not having played for so long. They'll want to run him down the channel, test his fitness all the time.
Fabregas crowded out. Again, no free kick. Whelan trying to get Fuller on his way between the central defenders. Sylvestre finding Fabregas beautifully into the path of Traore. Denilson. It's a big bounce for Fabianski, wasn't it? Emmanuel Thomas to Vela. Whitehead there. Delap. Forward by Higginbottom. Whitehead first to the ball. Nielsen tackling back. Traore though under pressure from Fuller, loses out. And Fuller's found a way beyond Traore and beyond to Nielsen and pulled back for Sidibe. Still a chance with Delap maybe. Sidibe taking responsibility, having had a rather wild swing at the chance that came his way, and it was a chance.
I think Traore's got to be stronger there. He had two opportunities, one to win the first tackle, and then he was too easily beaten for Fuller to get the cross in for Sidibe.
Robert Huth is going to take this throw, being encouraged by Martin Atkinson to speed up. Interesting to see how many minutes are added on at the end of the half. There's a feeling in the referee's mind that Stoke are slowing things down whenever they can.
I think they will, because one of the things that always stands out about Arsenal's team, physically they can always blast the pace. I know they've got one or two that haven't played regularly here, but they're always in good athletic condition, and the longer the games goes on, you'd expect them to have plenty of possession, and you'd expect Stoke to have to work extremely hard to keep the ball. So I think when it is out of play, I don't think Stoke will be in any rush to get it back in a hurry.
Huth will give way to Delap this time. Huth has gone into the box with Shawcross. Corner kick. Eastman taking responsibility this time again.
You have to be physically brave in those situations, and you've got to be switched on mentally. Concentration's crucial on these set plays.
I think he headed that out purposefully for a corner rather than another throw-in. Etherington takes. Campbell with a firm header away, and it will be a throw-in.
I think he started well, Sol Campbell. You know, he couldn't do anything about the goal, but when you consider how little football he's had, just that half a reserve game, I think he can be very pleased with the first half an hour.
A little bit of rain around this morning. It's dry here now. Delap with the throw. And that flies close to the Arsenal goal, but off a Stoke head, apparently.
I thought that came off Mikel Silvestre, actually.
Didn't look like it, didn't it? Goal kick was given. Emmanuel Thomas. Fabregas is finding space. Now to the path of Denilson. It's slightly overhit by Emmanuel Thomas, and Sidibe's got back there once or twice to help out. Delap halted by Traore. Vela, Denilson. Plenty of options for him here. It probably wasn't the best of them, but Walcott's rescued it. Wheeling away as far as Eastman. Fabregas. Traore with space. Taking on to lap and finding a cross, which Sorensen does well to claim. Quickly out to Etherington. Fuller. He's a confidence player, Ricardo Fuller, and what better boost to his confidence than a goal in 70 seconds here today. He has been substitute for much of the last month. Tunchai has been preferred to him. Coquelin's header down behind Campbell. Sylvester didn't really get it away. Kept in by Etherington. Campbell doing well again. Calmly played by the former England defender, or is a recall still a possibility at 35? Vela. Turned away by Higginbottom. One back by Eastman. And slightly too much on it for Emmanuel Thomas, and not enough for Fabregas. Sidibe to Etherington. Willing to tiptoe forward, but Eastman cut it out. Now Emmanuel Thomas trying to get beyond the defence for Walcott to chase. Haven't really been able to get Theo Walcott into the game yet.
No. Doesn't spell there where neither side can keep possession. Changeover is incredible, really.
Glenn Whelan, he has a good pass through the ball. Played inside, Coquelin for Etherington, but the right back manages to improvise well on this occasion.
Yeah, he's now starting just to settle into the game a bit more.
Fabregas up towards Vela. Sorensen is there. It's been a strange week for Thomas Sorensen, with Stoke City still apparently on the verge of agreeing a deal to bring David James to the club for the rest of the season. Sorensen himself has been linked with a move away to Bayern Munich in some of the gossip columns. He insists he wants to stay. Higginbottom. Campbell again. In control of the situation. Coquelin to Denilson. Fabregas. Just caught there. I'm not sure that Cesc Fabregas would have played here today, but for the fact that Jack Wilshere is ill. I think he was penciled in to start. Fabregas looking for a bit more protection from the referee.
He's probably right, but I think when you're in this sort of situation, in this environment, I think Stoke will love the fact that he's moaning at the ref. You know, they want to unsettle him, they want to rile him, and he's just got to be big enough to get on with it, not show them he's hurt in any way.
It wasn't a pretty tackle by Short Cross on further inspection. A fine line between letting Arsenal know they're in a contest and reckless challenges. Arsenal have been at the centre of one such discussion all week since William Gallas's challenge in the Bolton match in midweek. Headed away by Higginbottom. Eastman, Denilson, Coquelin, Walcott. Fabregas to Traore. Denilson available.
This is what Arsenal need to do. They need to have longer spells of possession. Try and wear Stoke out, try and pull them out of shape.
Vela looking to slip it through to Denilson. A move which had more of the Arsenal stamp on it. It's funny, you see a big centre forward up there for Arsenal, J. Emmanuel Thomas, and you wonder whether it's going to be a slightly different approach from them, maybe a return to the John Hartson days, but with the greatest respect, John, he's a slightly different type from you, isn't he? He's an elegant player who likes the ball down on the ground.
But I do think when you play this system with one front man, it helps if he's got the sort of physical presence that this lad has.
Villa's given that away. One back though by Eastman, and then by Fuller. Delap. Now was he fouled by Traore? Yes, he was. Free kick's been given.
He was enticing Traore to knock it out for a throw, really, wasn't he? Delap's a good pro, but he's never going to do on the outside for pace. But if as a fullback it's a threat to the team to put a ball out for a throw-in, then it's a difficult decision to make.
Yeah, he'd prefer to be occupying one of the central midfield roles, but there's a lot of competition in that area in the Stoke ranks. Etherington with the free kick. Oh, and it was flicked by an Arsenal head beyond the far post to Nilsson. Wasn't a lot of control about that header.
Good pace on the ball in, doesn't really clear the first man, and really Silvestra's got to talk there and take command of that situation a bit more.
Booth and Shawcross are still in there. And indeed Higginbottom, 3 of the back 4. Goalkeeper choosing to punch. A bit straight, that one. Whelan can knock it back into the centre. To Nilsson looking to chest it down. He's lost out to Fuller. Oh, and Sylvestre dived in there. And I've got a feeling if Fuller had gone down initially, a very well-placed referee would have had little choice but to give a penalty.
I think that might have been, by the way. I think the way that he went down may have made the referee change his decision. Be interesting to see that again. Mikel Silvestre doesn't get any of the ball there.
Fuller tried to stay on his feet. Emmanuel Thomas, Fabregas, Walcott. He's got support here. Oh, it's a really poor cross from Theo Walcott. 3 up with him.
Arsenal's pretty disgusted with the end quality, I think, and it's so important. Their quality of ball into the box has got to be bang on. As we said earlier, those big men at the back from Stoke City, you've got to fire things in with quality.
And that just seconds after this incident when, I mean, we talked a lot about diving in the last few months. Ricardo Fuller, all credit to him. He tried to go on, but I just wonder whether he's actually cost himself and his team a penalty in the process.
Well, and this is the thing, isn't it? This is the great debate, because people talk about players going down too easily. When somebody tries to stay on their feet, they don't get the decision they should have done. That was a penalty for me.
Etherington. Shawcross galloping forward. Going to be a throw-in. Delap will be invited to switch wings, and Shawcross will make his way into the Arsenal box. It is now raining, so he's going to need the towel.
The only thing with this, you know, this is 15, 20 seconds, 20, you know, possibly by the time he takes this throw in, but having run across from the right to the left, it might be nearly 30 seconds before that comes in.
Here it comes. Fabianski's reached it after a fashion, and Arsenal have dealt with it after a fashion. Vela and Walcott combining. Vela's got there ahead of Whelan. De Nilsson. Campbell. A little wrong so far. Sylvestre Traore. Vela. Fabregas to Eastman. These whistles will be music to Arsenal ears if they can keep the ball. Etherington, and as far as Walcott. Coquelin now played in behind the fullback, but first time Walcott's had that opportunity to run beyond his man, and he couldn't quite catch up with the ball.
I think what will disappoint him, apart from the goal, is just the quality of the passing. They haven't got the speed of their passing right yet. Haven't been able to unhinge Stoke often enough. Not easy here, because Stoke defend very well as a team. They're always very well organised. But you've got to make sure that the quality of pass is bang on and move the ball a little bit quicker than Arsenal are doing at the moment.
Arsenal behind from the first attack of the game. They have one or two leading lights on the bench, including Andrei Arshavin and Thomas Rosicki, Eduardo, all available. Throw in given. Corner keeping Sylvestre under pressure. Should have put a watch on this. Now that was given 38 minutes and 5 seconds. Let's see when the throw-in is taken. When you're ready. 20 seconds. It's a good one too. Fired in that. Headed away by Coquelin. And Vela was fouled on the edge of the penalty area. Whelan the culprit.
It's a fascinating difference in styles, isn't it? You know, there's no right or wrong way to play football, in my opinion. You have to admire teams for playing to their strengths. Arsenal far more pleasing on the eye to watch in this more aesthetic terms, if you like, and we'd all love to see our teams play great football. But when your resources are different, then you know, you've got to cut your cloth accordingly and sign players that fit into the system that you want to play.
Aside from maybe one short cross foul on Fabregas, Stoke have been fair. They have mixed their approach up in so much that it hasn't just been long, high balls up to the head of Sidibe. They've tried to play down the sides of the Arsenal central defenders. They've got Etherington, who gives them some genuine width and crossing ability from the left-hand side. So they're not one-dimensional. They're just different from Arsenal.
Stoke have got players that can use the ball. You know, Etherington, Whelan, Whitehead, they're all capable of using the ball well. And sometimes you can get sucked into just worrying about the long throw and allowing them too much time to go and play. And they've got people that can use it. That's what they've done really well. And I think Etherington there's highlighted the fullback. He's very, very nervous, Coquelin. Straight into his face as soon as the ball went out.
Collapse on the way again. Collins actually wanted to take a quick throw and get on with it. I mean, the referee really, if he added 7 or 8 minutes on, he could hardly complain.
Well, I think he's got to hurry it along a bit.
After all that, it's a short one. Collins is headed on by Etherington, and nothing comes of it. Vela. Traore. Looking to run Huth. Kept up with him. You know Robert Huth, who had him at Middlesbrough. This is not his favourite position.
No, but you're not going to run him on the outside there in a straight leg race, because he can shift once he's into his stride.
Handball given. Whitehead claims chest. Fabregas appealed for the handball. Again, Martin Atkinson was very close. Very close to Fabregas. I'm not quite sure whether he really deliberately handled the ball, which is the only thing that the referee's got to decide. But it's a situation of some danger, this, for Stoke City. Sylvestre and Campbell are forward. Fabregas instead rolls it for Nielsen to strike, and it's through everybody and in, and Arsenal have equalised. Nielsen's shot somehow found a way past Thomas Sorensen. From a contentious free kick, let's not forget, Arsenal have managed to get back on terms with Nielsen's first ever FA Cup goal.
Well, Tony Pulis is having a word with the linesman down here. I don't think he's too happy with the initial decision. I think it takes a deflection here when it's played to Nielsen.
Who does it hit?
Played across here.
It's the initial charging player, I think, who gets...
I think it hits Danny Collins just on the way through.
Yeah, maybe 2 deflections on the way past a rooted Thomas Sorensen, who I think would admit he was culpable for the goal that Liverpool scored here a week ago, or partly culpable, but I'm not sure there was anything the Stoke keeper could have done there. Fuller at one end of the half for Stoke, Denilson at the other end of the half for Arsenal. Scored 3 times his last 5 games now, Denilson. Here's Sidibe.
It's a great time for Arsenal to score. I mean, it changes Arsenal's half-time team talk a lot, I'm sure. And although, having said that, he'll still want them to improve on the quality of their passing, and he'll want them to show more authority in defence, or certainly his goalkeeper. But
oh, should it have been a free kick? I mean, it did roll up onto the chest of Whitehead. Don't think it hit Collins, did it? I think it was the initial charge. The first deflection after it left Denilson's foot. It didn't move a great deal. Maybe Sorensen should have reacted better. Wouldn't want to be in his dressing room at half-time. Might get worse here. Arsenal have a corner. Fabregas takes. Headed by Sidibe. It will be another corner. I'm certainly from a school that too many handballs are given. I think we appeal for every time it hits the player on the arm. Deliberate. That's all it says in the law. It's got to be deliberate. I'm not sure that was deliberate by Whitehead. Fabregas with a corner. Headed away by Higginbottom as far as Denilson. Campbell. Vela. It's charged down by Whelan, and Arsenal finishing the half on the up.
big spell of pressure important for Stoke that they keep this at 1-1 now.
Came from behind at West Ham in the last round. And from a very shaky start, Arsenal have grown into this game. Fabregas takes. Headed by Emmanuel Thomas. Oh, unnecessarily headed behind by Shawcross. Didn't get a big enough call from Sorensen.
It's amazing how goals change the emotions of games and change the way that games are played out. And Stoke are fortunate that he's only put 2 minutes up. I bet they'd be wishing they'd taken those throws a bit quicker now.
Vela with the corner. He might have another corner to defend. What a contrast to how this game began. Fabregas takes. Deep towards Campbell, headed away by Sidibe.
Tony Pulis will welcome the opportunity now just to regroup, get things together. They've played the half, I'm sure, for 35 minutes or so, exactly as he would have wanted it. It's just this spell at the end now where Arsenal are just starting to get back into it, really.
Fabregas. Bolted well and fairly. Free kick has gone in Stoke's favour. Robert Huth held back by Fabregas.
That takes some doing. Here's the handball again. I mean,
well, it does definitely hit the arm.
It does.
But it is ball to arm, maybe. I think that's the flick that took it away from Sorensen.
I think there's two things. I think the ball slightly deflects, and I think because of the bodies that are in front of him, he just isn't able to see it coming through.
Campbell away. Here's Denilson. Fabregas reached that. Away by Higginbottom. Down by Traore. Vela can't keep it in. So that's going to try to get it all the way. They've already played the 2 added minutes that was signalled. This is the last act of a fascinating first half. Deadlock takes, and there's the whistle. Well, Stoke City could hardly have had a better start. In front in 70 seconds. Denilson heading in the long throw from Deadlock. but Arsenal finished the half the stronger, and Denilson's deflected free kick has squared it up at Stoke City 1, Arsenal 1.
Well. Well, how deliberate is that handball from Dean Whitehead? Didn't hit you on the chest, Dean? But Denilson has taken full advantage, and Arsenal perhaps slightly fortunate to be back in this FA Cup tie. 1-1 at the Britannia at half-time. John Hartson and Robbie Earle watching with me. Bit lucky, Arsenal, on the balance of that?
I don't think so. I think they controlled most of the first half. I think Fabregas and Nielsen done very well. They're getting far too much room. I think Whitehead and Whelan got to get closer to them. They're getting far too much space. They're going into little pockets. Good players, difficult to pick up. I know they are, but I thought it was Arsenal's just rewards. I thought they worked hard and they kept going, and they came into the game in that first half right at the end.
Certainly had plenty of the ball, although, having discussed it, clearly they weren't listening to us, Arsenal pre-match. No. The long throw, boys?
Well, couldn't be surprised, could you? What? Just about a minute on the clock. Jalap gets the ball, gets his towel. We know what's coming. We're thinking about the setup here. It looks like Huth and Sidibe are the main targets. He goes over them. Fuller's on the run. It's as if Fuller knows where he's going, and quite cleverly here, he gets in front of the keeper. I think the keeper should be doing better. Gareth Southgate mentioned it in commentary. A goalkeeper should be taking the ball at its highest point. You see he's there, it's almost at his midriff. He's got to be coming and punching or getting something on the ball. Wonderful start for Stoke. And
since then, they've coped well with the throw-ins.
Yes.
In fairness, they've coped very well, but I think it's the fact it's very, very early in the game. It's, 70 seconds in, and the throw-ins come in, and Arsenal was sleeping for me.
Now, as a striker, you've admired Ricardo Fuller's work. Should he make sure a penalty decision is given here, John?
Well, you have to admire him. He's been very honest here. He's tried to stay on his feet, but I don't know why the referee still can't bring this back and give the penalty. You know, he's saying, well, let's just see if he can stay on his feet. And
that's a foul.
That's a foul. That's definitely
doesn't get
just in the box, yeah. And it's a foul for me. It's a penalty.
If that's anywhere on the pitch, I think he gives a foul there.
Yeah.
I think because it's just inside the 18-yard box. See, Martin Atkinson's right on the situation. Doesn't give a big decision.
Yeah, he does give the free kick that leads to the equaliser. Handball for you two?
Some debate. I mean, it's a clever flick by Fabregas, who started to have an influence on the game. He brushes Whitehead. Was it deliberate? I'm not so sure. I think they're a little unlucky, and they're certainly unlucky here. One deflection from Whitehead, possibly another from Collins.
I think Collins, if Collins is just creeps off the wall slightly, I think he closes this down. He just goes a little bit too late. He lets Fabregas play it to Denilson, and he goes off Fabregas's pass. But I think if he's creeping off the wall, I think he's got a little bit of less ground to make up, and he might block that.
We talked about Sol Campbell pre-match. How do you think he's done, John?
I think he's done excellent. He's looked as if he's never been away. You know, he's early on in the game, he missed a couple of headers against Sidibe, but he's realised, right, I'm in a game today, I'm up against two big, strong lads. He's gone and competed well. He's rallied. He's got Sylvester going as well. Sylvester's cleared some headers. I think he's done excellent. I really do, for someone who's been out for so long.
I think listen, when you can have as much training as you want, there's nothing like this. There's nothing like Stoke giving balls. He will have to learn this. Don't give throw-ins away there, so come on. You've got a lot more experience than that.
Corner.
Yeah, old instincts die hard, I'm sure. So, 1 each at half-time. Arsenal right back in this fourth-round tie. It's a fair old way, but they might be going home happy. Still plenty to play for here at the Britannia. We're interested. Second half next.
To celebrate the fantastic year of football ahead on ITV, we're giving you the chance across all our football shows to win the ultimate golden ticket for you and 3 friends to go to 4 major football finals next summer. Your first stop will be Hamburg for the UEFA Europa League final, with tickets provided by SEAT. Then it's straight back to London for the FA Cup final. Next it's off to the UEFA Champions League final in Madrid, with tickets provided by Sony. And to top it off, you'll be heading down to South Africa to the 2010 FIFA World Cup final with tickets courtesy of Sony. The prize is for 4 people and includes flights, accommodation in all 4 cities and £10,000 spending money. All you have to do to enter is text TICKET to 65330. Text costs £1.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or enter online for free at itv.com. We'll reply with your unique ticket number, and the winning golden ticket will be announced during the FA Cup match on ITV1 on Saturday the 13th of February.
Entrants must be 18 or over, and lines close at midday on Monday the 8th of February. Entries made after the closing time will not be counted but may still be charged.
The very best of luck with that competition, which ends tonight, so you must get your entry in for that fantastic prize by tonight if you want the golden ticket. John Hartson and Robbie Earle, second half fast approaching. Do you feel Stoke need to get on top of Fabregas and Denilson a bit more?
I do, yeah. I think, as I say, I thought Arsenal controlled the second period of the first half. And obviously they got the goal, which will get a boost from as well. But a terrible time to concede a goal for Stoke. I think that Tony Pulis would like to have got them in at 1-0, sort of regrouped and gone again in the second half. But
I think that's one of those things that's easier said than done, you know. I don't think Stoke have done too bad in that area. I think they've worked hard and been competitive. But if you get a chance just to watch Fabregas, you realise the real quality in this fella. In a really competitive midfield, he still finds pockets of space.
Watching him live,
you just
when he goes away
that's a little bit of class that just stands him apart as an exceptional footballer.
I think he's really stood out. And there's one or two like Vela and Walcott. For me, they can do a little bit more. I think Walcott he's stood still a few times on that touchdown over there where he can do one bit of movement and come in and get more on the ball.
Yeah, indeed.
Be interesting to see, you know, this Arsenal team. They keep saying they haven't won silverware. You know, they're one each away from home. Will their belief to be going now and get this done today and win the game? They won't want to replay.
No, they've got a very big fixture list in the Premier League coming up, and some big hitters on the bench if they need them. But it is poised at 1-1. Both teams back out, so we can rejoin our commentators for the second half, Gareth Southgate and Clive Tilsley.
Yeah, it's a good point that, Matt. Arsenal travel to Villa Park on Wednesday, and that is the first of 4 Premier League games in 2 weeks against Aston Villa, Manchester United, Chelsea and Liverpool. And that's all before the next round of the Cup. A resumption of the Champions League soon after that. So we're really going to find out about Arsene Wenger's latest team, his latest squad in that period. But another fixture, a replay against Tony Pulis' Stoke the week after next. Is certainly not on the schedule that he's got in mind for the next few weeks. Nicholas Bentner's about a week away from coming back. Samir Nasri is close to fitness. 1 or 2 others who are missing today with minor knocks. Bakary Sagna should be fit for Wednesday. And he does have on the bench today Andriy Arshavin, Thomas Rosicky and Eduardo. How long will he wait, Gareth?
Oh, I think he'll give the team that are out there at least another 15 minutes or so. They've got themselves back into the game just before half-time, which was crucial. And he won't want to use the big hitters on the bench if he doesn't really need to.
Big hit from Hoop. He was very high on Vela. I think the ball was high, and I think it was an attempt to go for it, but he didn't get it, and he got the thigh of Carlos Vela. Just showing his tattoo. It's all part of the intimidation. Fabregas. Denilson. Coquelin. Eastman to Traore. Vela seems okay. Arsenal getting back on the ball. Emmanuel Thomas. Walcott, who's been very muted so far. That's not a good pass either. I have to say, right now, he looks a million miles away from the World Cup.
We've just not seen anywhere near enough of him in that opening period, and that one decent opportunity he had earlier in the game to get a cross in, he put it behind the goal. Difficult spell in his career. You know, he's not getting a lot of first-team football. He's had a lot of injuries, but if he has designs on going to South Africa, then he's really got to start impressing between now and the end of the season.
He's getting on a bit too. He'll be 21 in March. Corner to Arsenal.
I mean, that's the thing we forget. You know, he got in that squad when Sven was in charge, and you do think he's older than he actually is.
Fabregas with the corner. Towards the head of Sol Campbell. He's got underneath a little bit. And how ridiculous is the notion that he might be on that plane?
You know, when I look at England's central defensive options, and Rio Ferdinand's missed a lot of the season, and John Terry is the one we rely on. We've got Matthew Upson, Wes Brown and people, but Sol Campbell's got the quality and the experience. It very much depends on what happens with him between now and the end of the season, but I would think this will be the biggest bonus for Arsene Wenger from today's game.
I don't think Campbell was penalised there. I think it was Fabregas in front of him. Or maybe it was the nudge by Campbell. Certainly Fuller got caught in the sandwich. Etherington into the path of Collins. Trying to get round Campbell. Good recovery.
Yeah, good defending. Arsenal were caught on the hop there. Stoke taking a quick free kick. Not switched on, but good defending again from Sol Campbell.
Whelan will take the corner. Booth and Shaw cross are forward along with Higginbottom. Oh, and Fabianski had a bit of a flap at that, and it was Sol Campbell again who had to clear. Whitehead keeping the pressure on. Stoke have got the throw.
Nervous moments again. It's so difficult for the keeper to come. There's so many bodies, and when he gets there, but it's such a difficult position with Sidibe standing right on him at all those set plays.
He scooped that almost off Sidibe's back. It's almost as if it went over the head of the big Stoke centre forward. Everybody back to their positions for a Rory Delap throw. Fabianski couldn't get to that one. No, was that a free kick? The referee's certainly given a decision Arsenal's way.
I think he's given the free kick, but it's either fantastic defending or an horrific miss as it does come in the box.
And he's impeded by his own man, isn't he?
No, I think Ryan Shawcross there has just stepped across him.
Yeah. I always think rugby union's an impossible game to referee. Those long throws and corner kicks, just about impossible for a referee to call. And it's not as if there was any shirt pulling or anything going on there. Etherington. Got three in support here, Matthew Etherington. And Fabianski has to claim that.
Good run and decent ball in.
Emmanuel Thomas to Nielsen.
This game's wide open. I mean, for all that Arsenal have more of the controlled possession, you know that the way Stoke play, they'll create chances, whether it's from open play or whether it's from a set piece. So they're always in a game like this.
Walcott on the way here. That's the biggest threat, really, if Coquelin can get him in behind Collins. To Nielsen, to Fabregas. Traore joining in. It's taken on Booth and Delap and found a cross. Bought and headed by Shawcross. Really good work by Armand Traore.
Fantastic the way he dug that cross out from that position.
To Nielsen. Vela. Fabregas couldn't resist, and Sorensen had to deal with it. It's a corner, is it? Yep. Arsenal attacking the end behind which the massed ranks are gathered.
Well, it's not the spell of pressure where Arsenal have been prepared to keep switching the play from one side to the other, trying to drag Stoke around, and that gives Fabregas a little bit of time to get a shot away.
Fingertips from Sorensen. Fabregas with the corner. Headed firmly away by Shawcross. Emmanuel Thomas. Eastman back to Sylvestre. Traore. Eastman, no, he was so short, and Stoke can break with Fuller. He's got three with him. Ricardo Fuller, oh, he's driven Sidibe too wide. He was caught as much by surprise as anybody. And Arsenal are able to sort it out. Walcott intercepts.
Got away with it really, Armand Traore. It's a dangerous square pass in the middle of his own half there.
Whelan's won it from Fabregas and found some space and found Etherington. Really good work by Campbell again. Coquelin slides in. Considered a free kick already. He's hurt himself in the process.
Yeah, I think as Matthew Etherington jumps the challenge, he just ends up landing on Coquelin there. Good footwork from the winger again, though.
blocked by Campbell, and then Etherington just lifts it away and just obviously caught him on the head as he tried to avoid him. Wow. Etherington might have argued that he'd have preferred an advantage to be played there, but I think the referee would have had to stop it anyway because of Coquelin's head injury. So Arsenal down to 10 here as Whelan prepares to take this free kick. Doesn't get it beyond Fabregas. Collins. Down by Fuller. Here's Etherington. Important header by Traore, and then by Emmanuel Thomas. Headed goalwards in turn by Delat, but easy enough for Fabianski.
Well, he defended the threat well in the end. Just allowing a few too many balls to come into that penalty box, though.
Traore into Walcott. Crowded out. Fabianski, and he was very grateful there to the intervention of Armand Traore. Whitehead. Now was he body check? Yeah, free kick. He's going on for Delat's return ball, and he was stopped in his tracks by Eastman.
Well, it's just cut across him there. Scrappy period of the game, but that'll suit Stoke. You know, they don't want it to flow too much, they don't want it to end. They want it nice and controlled, they want to keep the ball in Arsenal's half as much as they can and pin them back.
Yeah, I think a lot of the compliments we're going to pay Tony Pulis' team may seem like rather veiled compliments, but it is the truth. They don't want Arsenal to settle and get into a rhythm. Etherington takes, Fabianski punches, under a lot of pressure there, but Arsenal have the ball. There's some afters too, with Shawcross. Vela. Oh, it was a nice idea. Walcott had made a run to take people away. Play on, says the referee. Robert Huth on the way back. It was him that had roughed up the goalkeeper, not Shawcross. And Fabianski happy to settle for a goal kick here. And clash with Robert Huth.
It's a good punch again from Fabianski. It's a ball that Huth's entitled to go for. Not too much in that for me. I'll tell you what was noticeable when Arsenal broke from there, how quickly Stoke got 8 men back behind the ball. Fantastic recovery from all of them. And that's what Tony Pulis has bred at this club. A fighting spirit, good organisation, and really, you look at Stoke City and nobody really talks about them as being candidates for relegation anymore, and that's a credit to him in their second season in the Premier League.
They're in 11th place in the Premier League standings, the halfway between the Champions League places above them and the relegation zone below them. Maybe says something about the weighting of the league, that they're only 6 points clear of the bottom 3, but 13 points shy of the top 4. The top flight is a little bottom heavy. Fantastic support, as always. It's the Arsenal travelling supporter who are having the sing-song at the moment. Fuller has won the ball from Sylvestre. He's got options here, goes for glory. And it's gone home and away against Arsenal. Last season, Ricardo Fuller scored in the opening moments of this game. He's buoyed up.
And Mikel Silvestre's got to deal with that a lot earlier. He knows that Fuller's going to be onto everything. He'll be looking for... Tony Pulis will be looking for him to hit the target with his shots there.
On by Emmanuel Thomas. Away by Collins. Coquelin kept it in. And evidently Arsenal seeing more of the ball. Stoke posing every bit as much of a threat on goal. Strong play by Huth. Dillon. Salibi. Sir Alec Ferguson has won the FA Cup more times in the modern era than Arsene Wenger. He has to prioritise at this time of the season. That doesn't mean that he wants out of this competition. That much is evident.
Well, I think what Arsene Wenger's done, he's picked a team that he believes can win this game. And he wouldn't be playing the likes of Fabregas if he didn't intend to go out and try and win it.
Arsenal stay at the top of the Premier League, lasted only 3 days, but they've won 7, drawn 2 of their last 9 games. It's not a run they want interrupted. Higginbottom. Emmanuel Thomas stayed with him every inch of the way. It is a Stoke throw, but I think Arsenal do find themselves now in a situation where first title for 6 years is a possibility. A first ever Champions League success is still on the stalks, with Porto to come next. They have gone 5 years since their last major trophy, the FA Cup of 2005. And they have got this very crowded programme ahead of them, and players on the way back, both from injury and from Africa. Certainly a big couple of months for them. Nilsson wanted a bit too long, Sadibi slid in, he's conceded a free kick. Now gone. Sylvestre, Emmanuel Thomas. This might fall for Vela. Oh, it's right across the face of goal. Too much height and speed for anybody to connect with.
The angle, it's a good flick on it. The angle's too wide really for him to shoot from. Under too much pressure to be able to pick out any sort of quality on the cross.
He was looking to hook it back rather than hook it goalwards, that's for sure. Sylvestre. Picked up by Whitehead. This is Dillon. Short cross. Campbell there. Wasn't going to allow Sadibi to settle. Stoke have it. Suggestion that Campbell might have been penalised, but for that. Sadibi to Collins. Etherington. Walcott trying to see out his defensive duties, but was guilty of a little shirt tug.
I think that's a bit of frustration of what's happening for him when Arsenal have the ball. He's not really been able to find any space in the game. Just getting a bit frustrated in the challenge.
Higginbottom and Huth heading forward. Etherington sweeps it in. Headed away by Denilson. Collins. Whitehead. Short cross still up there. Tory away at the expense of the throw in. Throw. Fabianski's catch. It was too long, that one.
Well, that's the height that he wants to be taken out, though.
Made to kick with his unfavoured right foot there by Fuller. I was looking at the laws regarding throw-ins, because the gentleman who broke the world record last week I was talking about throws with a a flip. Does an acrobatic flip and then throws it, which apparently is legal. Sidibe. Oh, and that's awkward. It's really well defended in the end by Coquelin. He didn't have a lot to spare, but he had to do something. Fabianski stayed at home.
He dealt with it well. I mean, it's a great ball in from Sidibe. Great cross, just too far for the goalkeeper. Coquelin's heart must have been in his mouth, but he's done enough.
Missed by 6 inches. Towards Shawcross at the near post, headed back by Higginbottom to lap down. Oh, he could have gone for goal himself. Whitehead, Fuller onside. Oh, good tackle by Emmanuel Thomas. Had to get that right. I think he was inside the box. Galloping clear. He's got Walcott ahead of him. He's got Shawcross catching him up. Vela to Denilson, and now Fabregas. Look to lift it into Walcott, headed away by Higginbottom. Now he's got a decision to make, because I repeat, he does not want a replay.
I don't think any of the top managers would care for a replay at this stage of the season.
Peter Reid is Tony Pulis' assistant here, an FA Cup winner, 1984 with Everton. Forward by Whelan. Etherington onside. Now can they catch up with him? Rolled in towards Delap. Oh, Fabianski couldn't catch it. And Delap couldn't connect. And somehow Etherington's cross found its way through everybody. Game getting stretched now. Arsenal can counter. Denilson. Fabregas. One back by Whitehead. Early forward towards Fuller. Sylvester in control.
Etherington's ball just before that earlier on. I thought he was just offside at the time, but he wasn't. He timed his run perfectly, and oh dear, it was like a box of chocolates, Fabianski, and you never know what you're going to get.
Well left, keeper. Walcott's little flick header, turned away by Huth. Good work by the linesman again there. Fabregas. Vela. Advantage played. Denilson trying to lift it forward. Whitehead got it away. I understand Arsenal are readying 3 substitutes, and I think you'll recognise them all. Sidibe.
Well, certainly Eduardo's ready. Arshaven's ready. Just trying to see who the third one is.
Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah.
Well, this is a statement of intent. Midpoint in the second half approaches, and here come the big boys. Now, Arshavin's surely not going to wear that hat, is he?
I think somebody's just about to take it out of him.
It's cold in Russia too, I think. Well, Joe Emmanuel Thomas has done his bit. 19 years of age. He's different.
I think he's done well, Clive. I think he's had a good game. I think the Arsenal fans are showing their appreciation for him. I would say he's been another of the bright spots for Arsene Wenger today. He's held the ball up well. He's defended well when he's been asked to. He's been given a responsible performance.
Francis Coquelin is off too. And so is Theo Walcott. Eduardo, who's actually started the last 7 games for Arsenal, so he was due a rest today, and this is a bit of a risk because Aaron Ramsey's been out for a couple of weeks with a hamstring problem. Eduardo. Arshavin's going to play from the right-hand side with Eduardo up the middle, Vela still on the left, and Ramsey will join Fabregas and Denilson in the engine room. Arshavin did rather torment Stoke at the Emirates at the start of last month. Scored a goal. Was generally regarded to be the man of the match in that particular game. It was the game that got Arsenal's run going, really.
Clearly Arsene Wenger's been very positive with his substitutions. You'd expect Arshavin and Eduardo to have a big impact on the game, more experienced. The one thing they will miss with Emmanuel Thomas going off is the height for defending set plays, which might give Stoke a little bit of an advantage in Arsenal's box.
I think he's told Arshavin to mark Shawcross or Huth.
Maybe that's why he was leaving his hat on.
Headed by Higginbottom, Denilson. Ramsey. One back by Delat. So you get a little clip from Fabregas. Etherington. Craig Eastman, by the way, has now gone to right back. He's been playing in midfield, but he is experienced in that position. But he's been lost by Ramsey and Fuller. He might have done better there. Ramsey, a relieved man.
Yeah, he's looking around. I think he wanted to shout that he had a man on, but he needs to be aware in those situations that Stoke City this afternoon aren't going to give any of those Arsenal players time to dwell on the ball in there.
It's not a game you can ease your way into. Etherington. Looked like handball that by Eastman.
That was handball.
Stoke have it back as it happens. Whitehead. Early forward. Delap's onside here. First touch just a little heavy and Sylvestre got across. It's awkward to take. It's coming at a diagonal towards Delap, and he just had to try to shake his chest and knock it down in front of him, and he did that much, but he just showed enough of it to Sylvestre, who's in trouble, and Arsenal have just made all three substitutions.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I mean, Sylvestre initially played Delap onside, actually. He was a bit deeper than the rest of the Arsenal back four. Recovered well as much as anything because of Delap's poor touch, but he looks like he's taken one for the team now.
An awkward, bumpy landing for Mikel Sylvestre. Wasn't a terrible touch by Delap, it just showed enough of it to Sylvestre. Now, has he landed on his shoulder, or...?
Well, Delap's caught him across the knee, but yeah, he has landed on that left shoulder quite awkwardly, hasn't he? Sort of landed on his elbow. You wonder whether there might be a little bit of a...
That's the knee that's the problem. Certain irony in having made those three bold substitutions all at once. You might wonder whether he should have kept one up his sleeve. Doesn't look good, does it?
It'll be interesting to see who's going to drop into the back while Sylvestre's off.
I think just going with three for now. I think Fella's going to have to fill in at left back. Controri will play alongside Campbell as Sylvestre tries to get some mobility back. There is Traore. Nielsen whipping it away from Delap. Fabregas. Foul by Delap. Sylvestre's now going to hobble back on. He's moving a little bit better than he was a couple of minutes ago.
He's just looking at Arsene Wenger there. He's getting frustrated with the number of free kicks at the moment that Stoke are conceding. He feels, he's always one that wants his ball players protected, and to a degree he's right.
Just ran away from Fabregas, didn't pull out. Higginbottom won it though. Etherington. He's done well to escape through them there, Matthew Etherington. Arshavin eventually caught up with him. Delap. Tossed in towards Fuller. Fabianski. And a little spill. Stoke were ahead after just 70 seconds of this match. Ricardo Fuller heading in a long throw from Rory Delap, but Nilsson's free kick, deflected free kick just before half-time, equalised for Arsenal. Here's Carlos Vela. Aaron Ramsey. It's a clever ball in, and Vela's got behind. A really good tackle by Higginbottom, and it finds its way back into the hands of Sorensen. Very, very important challenge by Danny Higginbottom.
Well, it's a great tackle. Really important tackle.
Etherington stopped by Ramsey. Clever little back heel to Denilson. Here's Arshavin. Ramsey. Eduardo. Fabregas. Pulled it back. This time it's Shawcross's turn to make an important clearance. Mistake by Whelan. Arshavin won it for Fabregas. She's trying the most audacious of little passes into Ramsey. I tell you what, this last 20 minutes is going to be great. Both teams are going for this now. Both going for it in their own sweet ways. It'll be a great contrast of styles and a real fight to the death.
Too close to call, isn't it? You couldn't predict a winner at this stage, but definitely the quality that's come on now for Arsenal gives them an extra dimension. He says as Arshavin overhits his pass out of play.
Really important challenge this by Danny Higginbottom.
Well, it was a lovely ball from Ramsey, and actually Shawcross just got it in the way with Huth, but great timing of the tackle from Higginbottom.
It comes off the arm of Danny Collins back into the arms of Thomas Sorensen. That certainly wasn't deliberate. Campbell. Well won by Whelan. Here goes Etherington. Didn't quite keep that in. There's been a bundle of tricks though this afternoon. Matthew Etherington. He's been a cup finalist and another life with West Ham United. Tony Pulis is preparing a trio of substitutions too. Ramsey to Denilson. Fabregas. That's a lovely pass. Vela. Crossed in towards Eduardo. Shawcross did just enough.
Good positioning, but again you see Arsenal moving the ball that much more sharply now.
We're going to see Tanchai and Beattie as a new front two for Stoke in a moment. Whelan up towards Sidibe. Stoke throw. Ball for Mr. Delap. Shawcross on the way. Booth will join him. Lovingly cleaned, isn't it, Delap? He really befriends the ball before hurling it through the stratosphere. Here it comes. Here comes Fabianski. There's much to do about nothing. What if he can learn to get a shiny side on the ball so he can get a bit of swing? Denilson. Arshavin. Whelan's 1x, done some good work in that area today, Glenn Whelan. Didn't particularly want that back. Fabregas, Arshavin. Denilson forward, Ramsey. It was the introduction of Diaby and Nasri which really turned the third round tie at Upton Park Arsenal's way. All the substitutions have a similar impact here. Sidibe, he's got Fuller with him, he's come a long way. Fuller! Arsenal on the brink. Stoke City lead with 13 minutes to go. Big Mama Sidibe galloped down the right-hand side, and Ricardo Fuller scores his second goal of the afternoon, and Arsenal are
Sidibe there, because although it's Fuller's goal, Sidibe has to take all of the credit for that. Running away from Danielson here, he couldn't get close to him, and the quality of the cross, inch perfect. Fuller just pulling off the back of Sol Campbell there, but it's a inch perfect cross.
And Tunchai and Sidibe are putting Tunchai and Beattie are putting their tracksuit tops back on. That front two's working pretty well. Now Arsenal. Eduardo. They may not want to replay, but they don't want to go out either. Vela. Traore. Fabregas. Traore trying to squeeze across out of that corner. Finds a way out to Fabregas. Tackled by Sidibe. Foul right under Martin Atkinson's nose. He's close enough to make the tackle himself. Did he get a touch there, the ref?
I think Sidibe definitely caught him though.
It was from a free kick that Arsenal equalised at the end of the first half.
Fabregas will have a go here.
Says Fabregas. A blast! Oh, it almost came off Sylvestre. And in, it is a goal kick.
It's a chance. I think
He thinks it should be a corner.
Took a big deflection. It's difficult to see from that angle who it came from. Sylvestre certainly thought it was a corner.
Arsenal went out of the FA Cup at this stage in Arsene Wenger's first season in charge. Went out to Leeds United way back in 1997. Since then, 8 semi-finals in 12 years, 5 finals, 4 wins. Fuller. Oh, and Traore just found a way out. No doubt in their commitment to the cup. And they've got to show more than that now. They've got to come up with something very special. Traore on a run, trying to link up with Fabregas. Corner, well done Glenn Whelan.
That was good defending and an important defending. It was a lovely inside ball from Fabregas.
Into the last 10 minutes. Fabregas with the corner. It's over everybody's head. Well, Mama Sidibe's got many qualities, but wizardry wing play, Alistair Stanley Matthews, maybe not necessarily among them, but it's a terrific cross. And Fuller's header for the first goal was a good one. Might have been poor goalkeeping, but it was a good header. That's an even better one.
Yeah, it is. You know, he's done everything that he'd asked. Head it down, back across the face of goal. It's a great goal, and as we said earlier, we can often be critical of the way that Stoke play, but that's good football.
So Stanley Sidibe, renamed. That's what he does. That's better. That's what we expect from you.
He's got some way to get a statue, likes to stand outside though, hasn't he?
Well, he's never been a goal scorer, strangely for a centre-forward, never ever reached double figures in a season. But he's one of those big forwards that goal scorers love to play with. Eastman surviving a handball shot there. Danielson going back to his goalkeeper. Headed by Collins. Campbell. Unable to link up with Eduardo. Manchester United out. Liverpool out. Arsenal on the brink. The big four. Here goes Fuller, looking for a hat-trick. Fabianski to the very edge of his territory. Danielson, run off it by Etherington. Whelan's won it again. Here goes Mama Sidibe on another run. Stopped by Ramsey.
I thought he might have got a foul there.
So did Tony Pulis, strangely. Traore. The lapse there, though. Huth. Fuller's onside. Held up by Sylvestre. He's down again. He's up again.
Well, he knows he's been in a game, that's for certain.
Fabregas. Trying to roll it into Eduardo. Might come for Arshavin. Vella's onside. Arshavin's there. And so too is Rory the Lap. Corner kick.
Well, you would expect in this last 10 minutes or so that Arsenal are going to pose Stoke a lot of questions. Not offside, good ball back, but ball back by Delap.
Fabregas with the corner. Delap with the header away. Denilson. Campbell can't quite reach it. Higginbottom does. Eastman. Campbell. Denilson to Fabregas. Carlos Vela invited to cross. Rolls it in. Oh, Ramsey. Didn't quite get his timing right. Slightly behind him, maybe.
Yeah, they worked it well. I mean, it's typical Arsenal when they get in these positions to cut the ball back to the penalty area, edge of the penalty area, penalty spot. Aaron Ramsey just not able to get over the top of it.
Well, there are going to be changes to Stoke. Tunchai is going to take the place of the potential match winner, Ricardo Fuller. Has become Stoke City's leading goal scorer this season. That's 5. He'll give way to the man who's been keeping him out of the team, Tunçay, the Turkish international. And Rory Delap's off too, to be replaced by Salif Diao.
Well, Diao will go into the middle of the midfield and push Whitehead onto the right, a little bit more solid in the midfield. And they'll just be hoping for Tunçay to relieve some pressure by running the ball in behind Arsenal, I reckon.
Sidibe to Etherington. Whitehead waits! Stoke City are there. Arsenal are out. 3-1. Dean Whitehead's first goal for Stoke City confirms their success, surely. Arsene Wenger's trophy-winning possibilities will end here as far as the FA Cup's concerned. It may turn out to be a blessing in disguise for them in the long run, but Stoke have deserved this.
Well, the change works perfectly for Tony Pulis. Tunçay harassing the defence. It's another great ball in from Etherington. Is he offside? It's difficult to tell from that angle, but he looked okay. And Whitehead, who he's just moved onto the right-hand side, probably wouldn't have been in that position until he made the substitution.
I think he got the benefit of the doubt. I think by the letter of the law, he may just have had a part of his anatomy beyond the final defender. But a difficult call for the assistant referees, who've got just about everything right today. And the flag stayed down. It's 3-1, and Arsenal need a miracle. Eastman. Denilson. Arshavin trying to feed it into Ramsey, but Sorensen is there.
Yeah, and it was good defending by Shawcross as well, holding off the run of Eduardo.
The boys in the studio have chosen their Eon man of the match, and it is 2-goal Ricardo Fuller. Header on by Sidibe, and here's Tunçay. It's 4! It's a landslide!
That's handball. I think he's given handball.
Oh, he's disallowed him for handball. The flag was down. Big smile both from goal scorer and referee. It's only 3. Only 3.
Yeah, Tunçay just controlled that as he went through with the upper part of his arm, I think.
It might just still be gettable then for Arsenal. Might. Sidibe's worked so hard, and here goes Tunçay again. He's onside. Campbell came across. Ramsey. Eduardo. Ramsey charging on. He's found some space. Down he goes. Free kick.
Good play. Well, you know Arsenal will never stop coming forward. Like all top teams, they'll never give in. It's just the case, will they run out of time?
Now, how much added time dare Martin Atkinson add on? It will be Fabregas or Eduardo. It says Fabregas. Wall stood firm. Fabregas again, deflected on the way through, and Sorensen grabs it. It's a big Stoke wall, that. Big wall. This is the disallowed effort of Tunchai's.
It's a good flick. I think you'll just see here, yeah, just controls it with his right arm.
We understand from our touchline reporters that we're going to have 4 added minutes. So 5 to go in total. 1 or 2 making for the M6 and M1. Tunchai trying to slip it through to Sidibe again. Stoke City have made their way beyond this stage of the FA Cup just once in the last 6 seasons. Our older fans still talk about the semi-finals against Arsenal, 1971, 1972, both replayed, both full of controversy. There's been a lot of talk about revenge in the local press in the build-up to this. Stoke have not been further than the last 16 since the early 70s. But they're heading into the last 16 here unless Arsenal can come up with something very special. Eastman. That's not it.
Well, we've seen some dramatic finishes in the Cup this year, but I think it's too tall an order for Arsenal to get 2 back in this space of time.
3rd goal by Dean Whitehead has surely confirmed it.
He wasn't sure himself. He had a little look at the linesman there, didn't he, just to check.
He's a Welshman, Tony Pulis, born to be a manager. He got his main coaching badges by the age of 21. He's worked his way up. Managerial career began at Bournemouth back in 1992, and the highest high spots have been in the last 18 months with Stoke City. And maybe going higher still here. Tunchai's onside. 2 in support. Difficult to come on at this late stage and catch the pace of this game.
It is, but he had the impact that was required. You know, Tony would have put him on to harry defenders, and that's what he did for that 3rd goal, and that will be the decisive one.
Danny Pugh is going to just give a little bit more solidity to the left-hand side for these closing moments and replace one of Stoke's outstanding performers today, Matthew Etherington. Well recognised by his manager. Fabregas, Whelan coming between he and Danielson. He's been excellent today too. Here's Pugh.
I don't think there's been much in the game really, Clive. You know, Stoke will take the credit, and absolutely right. You know, they've deserved their win in the end because they've produced the moments of quality in this second half to produce those good goals. But you know, up to 15 minutes, 20 minutes from the end, it was wide open.
Ramsey. They'll take even more credit from the Arsenal lineup that they faced in the last 20 minutes of the game. Fabregas from the start, Arshavin, Eduardo, Ramsey, All added in the closing stages in a bid to get the game won. Fabianski away to Nielsen. Still they pass. Ramsey. They need 2 goals in 2 minutes, but does it change their style? Not really. Fabregas looking to play, are shoving in. First defeat in 10 games on the way for Arsenal. It's a winning start to the new year for Tony Pulis, to be continued.
And whilst Arsenal, maybe this wasn't the priority of competitions for them, they don't like losing. You know, they want to stay into it. They want to stay in every competition as long as they can.
Arsenal throw. Ramsey looking to get on with it. Fabregas. And just leave it off the ball by short cross. Don't think there'll be water later for Tony Pulis. Certainly won't be for him. They're going to celebrate it. Another big gun falls. Arsenal go the way of Manchester United and Liverpool, beaten by Tony Pulis' Stoke City here at the Britannia. 2 goals from Ricardo Fuller did the trick. Dean Whitehead confirmed the victory. This FA Cup is wide open this season. We'll be back at the Britannia with a reaction in just a moment. But Stoke City have put Arsenal out by 3 goals to 1.